Well, hi everyone. Welcome once again to the self-knowledge lectures. Today we are going to be studying the lecture number 13 of a very, very interesting topic in which we are going to be delving into the laws of karma and the laws of Dharma. We are going to be understanding today how these two laws work. We are going to be also, by understanding this law, these two laws, we are going to be understanding the reason of the social, economical, spiritual, even inequality that we find in the world. We are going to be able to understand that everything that happens in this world is absolutely fair. It's absolutely just because this divine justice is actually ruled by 100% conscious being. So everybody receives only the return of their actions as consequences, right? So let's start studying this lecture. Remember that if you have any question on this topic or if any concern arises during the explanation of this topic, you can leave your questions down there in the comment box and we will be gladly solving any question that you have. Okay, and if you are not yet part of our WhatsApp or Telegram groups, you can find the links in the description of this video. And there in our groups, you can receive these lectures and also complementary material on each one. We are always sharing PDF on each one of these lectures and also the audio. Yeah, so and all of this is shared for free. So if you want to join our groups, you are very welcome. So let's start explaining what are these laws of karma and Dharma. The law of karma is an universal law that is ruled, let's say like that, by the objective justice. Actually, this law of karma has been known but by other different names, but actually we are talking about the same thing. For example, some people, when referring to karma, they refer to the law of recurrence, right? That we explained in the previous lecture. And when we talk about the law of recurrence, we are talking about that law that says that everything repeats in our lives once again, but with its consequences. So when we are talking about those consequences, we are talking about the karma, right? Also, it is known as the law of talion or retalion. That is an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. That is the law of the violent man, right? Because we are, by this law, because we don't learn to transcend this law, receiving in return what we give, right? Also, it is known as the law of cause and effect because every cause it has an effect and every effect has a cause, right? And also, it is known as the law of equality that says the saying that what we give, that is what we are going to be receiving in return. And when we are talking about this, we are talking about the very same law of karma. And what is karma? Karma is everything that we owe or that we have to pay for all the bad deeds that we have performed when we allow our psychological defects to act in ourselves instead of our consciousness. Every time that a psychological defect manifests in us, it comes to harm, right? To harm ourselves, but obviously to also harm others. Every time that we let our anger on its very aspects and details to manifest in us, anger always coming to harm. It's harming our own body, right? It's harming our own energy, but also through words, through actions, or through omissions, is making us harm others, and that damage that it produces is going to return to us because we are going to always receive what we give. That is a law in this universe, right? We can say the same, for example, out of envy, out of pride, out of lust, and so on, out of gluttony, and so on. We are damaging ourselves and others. We are harming our own physical body, but we are harming the psychology, the mind, and even the bodies of other people, of other beings. And we receive in return a karma, that is a consequence, right? And we are given time to pay for the karma, but there is no debt that is going to be unfulfilled. No, we are going to pay for it all. Sooner or later, we are going to be paying for the consequences. Sometimes, and that is something that do not allow us to understand this law, is that we see people who have been very weak, right? Very evil. And they harm people and they live like fine, right? And we see that they just die and everything was okay. If we are believers on heaven and hell, we can think, okay, they are going to pay for that in hell. They're going to burn in hell because they were very evil people, right? And we, on the other side, can see people that are very good to us or ourselves. We can think of ourselves that we are very, very good people, but we are having just a hard time in this existence. We have experienced all those painful and harsh situations, and we don't understand that, right? And we say this is not fair. What is this? All of this happening to me, or happening to that person, or even happening to that little kid who is for us innocent. How is he going to be paying for something if he's just a very young people? But it is that we don't understand, because we don't remember, because our consciousness is asleep, that we don't live only one time, right? We live successive existences, and the payment for those bad actions sometimes or many times comes in the next existence, right? So we were very bad people in previous existences, and in this one we came to pay for that, even from a young age. We all those things, all those bad things that we receive in an existence are the consequences of many times things that we did in a previous one, right? And that person who is very bad, very weak in this existence and died without paying, right, is going to pay. In the next existence is going to come in a situation that will make him pay with pain, right, for the unconsciousness, for those bad actions. So when we reflect on all this, we can start understanding all those things in this life that we think that are unequal, that we think that are not fair. Well, they are fair. And something that we must know is that when we want to self-realize, yes, when we want to free ourselves from this wheel of samsara, we need to pay for all this karma that we owe. And actually, we owe the karma from 7 existences. And when we start doing this work of self-realization, in order to free ourselves, we need to start negotiating with the divine law. We need to start making dharma. Now I'm going to explain what is dharma, to pay for all that karma that we have in order for us to free ourselves, right? Because we have that debt there accumulated. We have paid for some of it with pain, right? But it is an enormous amount of karma that we have. If you manage to astrally unfold yourself consciously, right, and visit the tribunal of karma that is in superior dimensions, you can get to see there the books of your karma. Or even though if you go to a past life and you see all the things that you have done, you're going to realize that it is true. We owe an enormous amount of karma, and if we want to self-realize, we need to settle all those accounts, right? And well, why in this world exists that law? Sometimes we tend to think that karma is about punishment. Is sometimes we think that it is a sort of divine revenge, but it is not. Actually, karma exists for us to learn, right? Because we came to this physical manifestation to drag wisdom from experience. But the thing is that when we do certain things, we don't see them as badly as when they do those things to us, right? And someone harm us is bad. When we harm others, we tend to justify what we do. And only when we manage to experience in our lives the consequences of our bad actions, and we can reflect on that, we can make ourselves aware that that we are receiving is a consequence of something that we did, then we will finally understand. Then we will be able to drag the wisdom, because we are going to be able to recognize the psychological defect that let us act in that unconscious way that is now being returned to us, right, as a consequence. And we can eliminate that psychological defect, right? And then we can also understand that what we are receiving in return is just a consequence. Then we are going to learn to forgive others. We're going to be developing mercy in us, right? And that way, by becoming merciful beings, we are going to be able to free ourselves and to ascend to superior levels of consciousness, having dragged the wisdom that all that life lesson has to give us, right? And that is why karma exists, for us to learn. Now let's see the other side. Let's see what is dharma. When we talk about dharma, we are talking about a sort of cosmic money, because every time that we do a good or a conscious act in the benefits of others, and including in the benefit of our unconsciousness, that is being paid to us internally as dharma, or as that cosmic money. Actually, in our internal world, there exists the bank of karma, where all the bills of our karma exist, and the bank of dharma, right? And right there, in that the tribunal that exists in the superior worlds, there is this like a small jar where every being pay us with this cosmic money for every good or conscious action that we do in favor of others. They live, there are golden coins there for us, and those coins are daily transferred. You're going to learn how. They are daily transferred to our bank of dharma. So we accumulate dharma. Actually, we can have dharma accumulated from all our 108 existences. In the case we are living the existent number 108, right? Dharma is only karma is only accumulated from the last 7, but dharma from all the existences. So maybe we have, if we have been good or conscious people in previous lives, maybe we have dharma there accumulated in our bank of dharma, in our internal bank of dharma, and by not knowing how to use it, we are experiencing hard situations. So today we are going to be learning a practice to learn to transfer our funds of dharma to our bank of karma to pay for our karmas, right? But something that we must know is that we have enormous amounts of karmic debts, and that the work of self-realization actually internally has a cost. Every initiation, every grade, every advance, every comprehension that we have actually cost us. The very right to receive this knowledge actually internally has a cost. So we need to be producing this dharma, producing this money. And how we generate that dharma? Well, by performing good acts and conscious acts. What is good acts? Well, acts of charity. When we give food to the hunger, right? When we to hungry, when we give drink to the thirsty, when we like heal the sick, and so on. When we help people in a physical, material way, without expecting anything in return, right? We are making dharma. But actually, the most that produces dharma for us are the conscious acts. And what are the conscious acts? When we help other people of humanity to awaken, right? When we give them the tools so they can understand that their existence has a purpose, and so that they can fulfill the purpose of their existence. And that is why that gives us much more dharma than the good acts, because when we help see people in a material form, let's say by giving them food, or some material help. Yes, we are helping them, but for a short period of their endless existence, because we live over and over and over, right? We are just helping them from a very short moment with a very small situation. But when we give them the tools so that they can free themselves from the spiritual misery, from the economical and material misery, because when we work on yourself, you actually transform your exterior, and you can free yourself from this wheel of pain and suffering. We are giving them something that has a very enormous value. So we are actually giving them freedom, giving them by giving them the knowledge, and they internally pay us very, very well for those conscious acts. And that is the way how we generate dharma. Now, how we produce karma, how we have, now that we have all that amount of karma, what we did, right? Well, we were saying every time that we let our psychological defects to act, that is through become an action, right? Or through the words, when we let that defect pass from the emotion and the mind to the verb and express something that harm others, right? Or ourselves, same, we are actually producing karma for us. And due to our omissions, that is every time that we have the possibility of acting in a good or a conscious way, or talking in a good and a conscious way, helping in a good and a conscious way, and out of a defect, let's say out of laziness, let's say out of pride, out of anger, whatever, we don't do so, we are also producing karma. Having the opportunity to do well, we decide to do not out of ill will, that also produces karma for us. And there are many types of karma that is important that we know them. There is the individual karma, that this is a karma that affects only one person, let's say only myself, not my partner, not my children, not my mother, or my father, or the or related to the place where I live. Only I am paying for this. For example, we have this image. I eat plenty of junk food, and I receive illnesses, obesity, etc. as a return. Well, that is an individual karma. Let's say that I had this knowledge in a previous life, and I hid that light from other people. Then, as a karma, I receive problems in my vision. Right, the light is kept away from me, and that is an individual karma, an example. Right, but there is also the family karma. And in the family karma, what divine law does is that, let's say that people that is linked, but those genetic links are joined together to pay for certain karmas they have in, let's say, that they have all, I don't find the word. They have all related to the same thing. They did the same thing. They need to receive the same consequences. And then we find, for example, all the genetic illnesses, all the hard situations that happens to a family nucleus. All of them have to pass through this hard economic situation, to live violent situations, and so on. That is due to family karma, right? We can free ourselves from all those types of karma. We are going to explain how. There's also the collective karma, in which people that has a debt in common, they are put together in a certain situation for the karma to be collected from them as a collective. For example, we can find the accidents, for example, the an accident in a bus, in a plane. Let's say that with or at a scam, things like that, where people are together there and they all suffer from the same thing. That is actually a collective karma. We have national karma, regional karma, continental karma, world karma, planetary karma, and those karmas are or affect all the people that is there in that nation or that region of the world, or if that or on that continent, right? They are there. We are not in a certain country or in a certain nation or certain continent just because. No, it is because there we need to be paying for certain things that we did in our previous lives, and that now we are going to pay we're going to pay with the situations that are happening in that region, the floods or these dictatorships or hunger and so on. That is due to karma, and the things that happen to the very same world in which we live are due to our unconscious actions as humanity, right? So we find there the world wars, we find there the epidemics, right? And the planetary karma, the same things that happen to this planet are also a result of us as humanity, and how unconscious we are with the planet. I give you I it's giving us here a home, right? And well, those are some of the types of karmas. There are other types of karma that we need to also know that are very hard. For example, we have the saya karma, and this karma is related to the sexual links that we perform every time that we have coitus with someone. Our karmas join together when there is fornication, because karma is in our inner waters, there in our semen, right, in our sexual energy. There we have karma, or we have the karma there in our inner waters, and when we fornicate with other people, with other person, those karmas are linked. So imagine yourself with casual sex with the with this having sex with this and that one and the other one. We are linking ourselves karmically with many people. So if we had this amount of karma, I joined together with this one, and now I have this amount of karma and this amount of karma, and that is the saya karma. And we have these energetic bounds in ourselves that we need when working on ourselves to break with them, this energetic link that we create with everyone that we have sex with. There is the yoga karma. That is a karma of loneliness, when someone, for example, due to saya karma, or because he have betrayed their previous partners, or harmed their previous partner, do not have the right to have a partner when he needs it. For example, someone is here, is receiving the knowledge, knows that we need a partner to perform the spiritual birth. But if that person has a yoga karma, he has no right to have that partner. Then what he needs to do, he needs to start working on those psychological defects that create that karma, well, produce that karma for him or her, and negotiate with the divine law to pay for that debt with sacrifice for humanity by helping others, right, to transcend that and to have the right to have a partner. Well, there is also the heart karma. It is karma related to the crimes we commit against the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is our own sexual energy, the creative power of our sexual energy. So there is this karma that we have produced every time that we have acted against our own sexual energy, by fornicating, by masturbating, by raping, by practicing masturbation, through homosexuality, lesbianism, and so on. It is a very long list of ways in which we commit crimes against our Holy Spirit, that produces for us a karma that cannot be forgiven. That is, it cannot be paid by doing acts of love, but that we need to pay with pain, right? So it is a non-negotiable karma, okay? And there is the Katansha karma, that is a karma, a superior form of karma related to prophets, nirvanis, masters, brides, gods, and so on, for their actions, when those actions they do, well, ends in harming others. Sometimes those conscious beings need to take some decisions, but a decision is going to, in a way, harm others. And well, they balance, and when they say yes, I'm gonna do so, even though it generates this amount of damage, it's going to generate this amount of benefits. Well, they do so, but and they need to pay the part of karma, and that is known as a katansha karma. Okay, and well, something important: the tribunal of karma. We need to know that as there is this subjective justice in the world that handles the laws and so on, and I mean subjective, sorry, because it is handled by beings with a sleep consciousness that is asleep, right? And their punishment are not always right here in this in the justice in this physical world, or the decisions are not always fair or conscious, or never. There exists a superior form of justice, an objective justice that is objective because it too is handled by conscious beings. 100% conscious beings that are consciously aware, that are 100% fair in all of their decisions, in all of their verdicts. So the justice that they do is consciously, is totally fair, right? There is a tribunal of karma for every dimension, right? And remember that the dimensions in us are in our spinal column. So in every dimension we find a tribunal, and in our sexual center, for example, we find the great tribunal, where if we unfold ourselves consciously to that tribunal, we can see there how is that the liberation of the essence when we ask for death for a psychological defect is there fulfilled. We see all the commitments that this liberated essence assume. We see the capacity of commitment of each person in that tribunal. Well, many other interesting things. And here in the world of the 48 laws, the divine law is ruled by Master Anubis, who is the hierarch of the divine justice, and his 42 judges that actually are the ones in charge of regulating all the laws in this world, right? These they are 42 judges, 21 are like in one side, 21 on the other, and they are all the time they discuss to make that every decision is fair for this world that exists in this the world of the 48 laws, right? And there are plenty of ways to pay for karma, actually five, for people who already have the knowledge, right? The first way, you cannot see the number here, but it says Dharma. Do of the camera, you cannot see that here. Says in the first one says Dharma. The first way to pay for karma is with the Dharma that we already have from the previous lives and from the good and conscious actions that we have done in this one, and the Dharma that we are earning every day by performing acts of sacrifice for humanity, right? By sharing this knowledge with other people, we are actually generating Dharma, remember? And the second way to pay for a karma is with negotiable pain. What is this? Many times a pain comes to us, and in the astral plane, they advise us that a karma is coming. How they advise us? For example, when you see in your dreams on a conscious astral projection the number 5, the law is there, right? The number 5 in, let's say, the name of a person with 5 letters, or we see the number 5, or there is an amount of money that we must pay, and that amount of money kabbalistically give 5, it is something that we must pay. Or when we see blood in the astral plane, blood actually is about karma that is coming. Or when you see the lion of the law, and the lion is, for example, furious, is because a karma is coming. Or when we see the law represented, for example, as a policeman or army, that is about karma, and we must be aware of the whole scene to interpret the karma that is coming, because they show us in the internal worlds for us to negotiate those karmas in advance, so that we don't have to pay them with pain. I'm going to explain how we negotiate our karma in a moment. If we don't do so, if even receiving the advice, we don't negotiate that karma, we don't pay it with love, then we will have to pay for that karma with pain, right? But we had the opportunity to negotiate it. Now, there is karma that cannot be negotiated. That is the hard karma that I was explaining. And that is a way in which we'll have to pay for that non-negotiable pain with pain, right? With hard situations. The other way to pay for karma is by performing charity. Those are the good acts, remember? And if we give other people, for example, food, we are never going to lack food. We are not going to be hungry, right? Because we are going to receive in return what we are given. And the fifth way to pay for karma is with objective negotiations with the divine law, right? So by committing ourselves to do conscious acts in order for the divine law to help us transcend this or that karma, let's say an illness that we already have, or that they show us in the astral plane that is coming to us, that illness or a hard situation that we are experiencing with pain, or that they show us that we are going to be experiencing. We can also negotiate for advances in the inner work, and so on. And well, let's now pass to the part of explaining the practices of this lecture. We are going to be learning first how to transfer our funds of Dharma, the ones that we already have, the ones that we are going to be earning every day by performing acts of love in good acts, helping other people of humanity. And let's learn also how to negotiate for those karmas when we don't have enough Dharma to pay for the karmas. Yes? So the first one is the practice for the transfer of funds. I'm going to explain the practice, but also to the WhatsApp and Telegram groups, I'm going to be sending a video where you can see how this practice is performed, right? Because here, because of the camera and the space, we are not going to have like the precise explanation. But how is this? You're going to stand to do this practice. You're going to pray your inner Father, my Lord, my God. I beg you, if it is your will, to transfer funds from my bank of Dharma to my bank of karma. That is, just ask your Father to be him who transfer the funds, right? And then standing, you are going to stretch your arms, the palms facing up, like making a cross with your body or a balance, and you're going to start performing these runic movements to transfer the funds. You're going to be raising your right arm to 45 degrees while lowering your left hand 45 degrees, and the same in the opposite way. And you return to the initiate position, yeah, like a cross. That is the movement, right? Like this. But while doing those movements, you are going to be chanting some mantras and focusing on certain points. You are going to focus on the point between the eyebrows, and by performing the movements, you are going to be chanting the mantra ni, like ni. Then you are going to focus on the point on the lyrics, and you're going to chant the mantra ne while performing the movements. Ne. Then focus on your heart, right? And then in that point, and chant the mantra no. No. Then on the point on the belly button, you are going to be chanting the mantra nu, like nu. And focusing on that point between the belly button and the pelvis, you are going to chant the mantra na. Na. Case ni. Ne. No. No. Na. You're going to be repeating that set of movements, focusing on those 5 points for a total of 9 times, right? And when you end the 9th row, of 5 movements, you are going to close by pronouncing the mantra Torn and closing your arms in your chest, the right hand over the left hand. Yeah, like this, like Torn. You thank your inner father for helping you on this transfer of funds practice. And with this rune that is known as the Knot rune, you are actually helping yourself with your karma, with every hard situation that comes for your in your daily life. You are going to be transferring those funds of dharma to help you, so you don't have to be paying with pain for all the situation, for all the consequences. Remember, of course, that we need to be eliminating our psychological defects, right? So that we stop producing more karma, right? And well, there are times where we don't have enough dharma to pay for our karmas. And even in the astral world, they can let us know that we lack money, that we don't have enough. We have this dream in which we need to pay for something, but we don't have enough money. For example, we are running out of money in the astral world. And that is because we don't have dharma. Even though we perform our transfer of funds, we are out of funds. And what we do, we negotiate with the divine law. We commit ourselves to do conscious works of sacrifice for humanity in exchange for the divine law to help us to transcend asceta and karma. And how we do so, we are going to lay down with our arms open, shaping a cross with our body, right? It can be in the bed, it can be in the floor, it doesn't matter. You're going to be laying down, and while laying down, you are going to beg to your inner Father, my Lord, my God, I beg you, if it is your will, that you go to the heart temple of the divine justice, and once there to negotiate with Anubis and his 42 judges in order for them, and then you plan the negotiation, and in order for them to help me to transcend this illness, to help me to transcend the situation, in order for them to help me with whatever. In exchange, I commit myself to, and there you explain what you commit yourself to do. That commitment must be, let's say, in balance with what we are asking for. Let's say that a cancer is coming to our lives. Well, we are not going to commit ourselves, I don't know, to only print 100 pamphlets and share so that people know about the knowledge. No, we are going to be to make a big commitment. Or we have this yoga karma and we need a partner, right? We are not going to commit ourselves with I don't know, something small. We are going to commit ourselves something big, right? So it's important that you reflect on that you are going to commit yourself to do. Let's say you're going to commit yourself to create a page and share these lectures, to become yourself an instructor, to prepare yourself to learn this knowledge, to prepare yourself by practicing these lectures, and to give these lectures, for example, as I am doing now, with other people, or to open a presential place where you can invite people to receive the knowledge, and you're going to teach them this knowledge, these 75 lectures, for example. And that way you can commit yourself with the divine law. Okay, so the first time you're going to be laying down there with your arm open, forming a cross with your body, and you're going to be planting that. You're going to be asking your inner being to go to the heart temple and to negotiate with Anubis and the 42 judges. Then what you're going to do, you're going to sit down with your arms stretched, palms facing up there, the same cross with your torso. And you're going to repeat the very same requests. My Father, my Lord, my God, I beg you, tralala. Okay? Then you're going to lay down, repeat for a third time the petition. Then you're going to be sit for the fourth time, repeat the petition. Then you're going to lay down for a fifth time. You're going to repeat this request. And the sixth time, you're going to be set down and you're going to repeat the request. And that is the last time. The sixth time that you repeat that request, you are going to thank your inner father for helping you in this in this request, and you are going to ask him to also thank you, the divine law, Nobis, and the 42 judges for having heard your request, and you're going to ask your inner father to help you remember the outcome of this negotiation, because in the astral plane, in the world of dreams, they're going to let you know if your request was accepted or not. For example, sometimes what we are committing ourselves to do is not enough, and they let us know. Sometimes what we are committing ourselves to do is too much, and the divine law knows that we are not going to fulfill that we are committing ourselves to do, and they let us know. And sometimes they just approve what we commit ourselves to do, and they approve the negotiations, and then let us know. For example, you can see yourself in a bank closing a business, or anywhere closing a business. You can find yourself, for example, in the school, um, signing some papers. You can find yourself you're already paying for something in the astral plane. You can find yourself in a supermarket, and the dream lets you know if the business was approved or not, right? If you don't receive an answer in the astral plane, you make the negotiation again and wait for the answer. Okay, and that is the way how you can negotiate any karma that comes to you. Now, you can also perform this practice every day, not to commit yourself to do something, but just for asking for help, for strength in the inner work. So you do the same, right? And you ask your father to go to the heart temple of the divine justice, and to ask Anubis and the 42 judges to give you strength, to give you health, power for performing the work on the three factors for the revolution of consciousness, or the work of your self realization, right? And you do the same, but just asking that. In that case, you don't have to commit yourself for anything. Just by doing the practice, you receive that strength that you are asking for. Those two practices must be done every day. The practice of transfers of funds, we must do that practice every single day, because every day we have karmas coming our ways, right? And every day we must be there, earning some dharma by helping others, right? So we need to be moving that funds every day. And for asking for help, for strength, we can do this practice of negotiation with the law every day, and especially on the times where we want to negotiate something specific, right? And well, those are sorry, the practice that we wanted to give you with these lectures, and this is today's lecture. I hope it is very helpful for you. And well, remember that if you have any question on this lecture, please leave your questions on there in the comment box, and we'll be gladly solving any question that you have. And remember to join our WhatsApp or Telegram groups, where we are going to be sharing a PDF on this lecture, where we have the written explanation of the karma, the dharma, and the practices. And also, we are going to be sharing a video with the practice of transfer of funds. So if you have any doubt on this and on that practice, you can resolve by watching that video. And well, I want to invite you to our next lecture of ASA that we are going to be studying the next Monday, in which we're going to be talking about drugs and alcohol. A very important lecture in which we are going to understand the urgency on working on those two defects, and how to help others to get out from the scourge of drugs and alcohol. So don't miss that very interesting lecture. And well, thank you very much to all of you for watching this video. And well, see you in the next time. Bye bye.